What's up, guys? Welcome back to Deck Tech for Decks. I'm your host, Caleb. If you want to support me, you can always use that TCGplayer link in the description down below, or as always, just liking, commenting, subscribing will do the trick. Now, let's get into today's Deck Tech with Aragorn. And I'm going to be honest, guys, there's a lot of text on this guy, and he does a lot of things, but we only care about one of them. We want to give him +4/+4, buffing his power up to 21/21, and then just taking people out with commander damage. It's simple, straight to the point, and honestly pretty easy to do. So for all intents and purposes, this is basically a mono green deck. Now, we do splash some color here or there for some broken cards that are going to be amazing in this strategy, but other than that, like I said, pretty much a mono green deck that just makes a big giant creature in swing's face. Now, there's a couple interesting things we can do with that, like casting Rishkar's Expertise to immediately draw 9 cards, and that's on the very low end, right? That's if we don't buff him previously. So Rishkar's Expertise, draw 9 cards, play another card for free. If that card's green, we're going to buff him up even more, and we're smacking someone for 13/13 out of nowhere. This guy can get massive fast, and it doesn't take much to do it. Additionally, we run a lot of stuff to give this guy trample because that will be an issue, and if they do have blockers, we run a lot of 1-mana fight spells. That way, we can, cast a fight spell, it buffs Aragorn up, we remove their blockers, and then they have no blockers, and we're buffing our commander at the same time, making sure our strategy is doing exactly what we want to do. So, if that sounds like a deck tech you want to get into, let's get into it. The first thing we want to do is cast those green spells on the cheap. That way we can get that +4/+4 consistently. Noxious Revival and Regrowth are going to be amazing in the graveyard because now we're getting a consistent +8/+8 every turn. The only thing is when you try to Noxious Revival the Regrowth, it will go to the top of your library. So unless you can draw that, that's kind of where the bouncing back and forth ends, but it's still an amazing synergy in the deck, and both are even really useful in the deck if you're not targeting one or the other. Charge Through is going to be an amazing card as well. It does exactly what we want. It gets that +4/+4. It replaces itself. It's super cheap, and it's even going to give our commander trample. Rancor, another one, right? +2/+2 and trample. It will also trigger that +4/+4. Exactly what the deck is wanting to do. Wild Cantor, super solid. Enters the battlefield, you sacrifice it, and then you instantly get the mana back. That's exactly, again, like Burning Tree Emissary. Same thing. This one we can even bounce to our hand using the simple Cloudstone Curio. So now we're bouncing that back to our hand, and it's replacing the mana we used to cast it. So as long as we have another elf, we can keep bouncing it back to our hand, and we are still losing mana on this exchange, but again, guys, we only need to cast 4 spells to take someone out with 21 commander damage, so that is not a very hard thing to hit, especially when Cloudstone Curio is on the battlefield. It's probably one of the best cards in the deck just because of the cards we are running. Metamorphose, super solid, replaces itself. It's just a spell. You get the 3 damage off of the red, which we don't really care about, but I will say this. If you want to commander damage 2 people out and then consistently ping the other guy with the red damage, you could theoretically commander 2 people out and then kill the other one with the burn damage, because the red is the second most common color in the deck, but I won't say that that's going to happen consistently. Really, we're just trying to do that 21 commander damage, honestly. Incubation and Incongruity. The only reason this card is in the deck to cast it, for one, look at the top for an elf and then cast the elf. That's going to give you a solid +8/+8, plus we can use it for removal in a pinch. Defiler of Vigor. If we can get a lot of cards in our hand, we can just start paying life and dropping all of our 1-drops onto the battlefield, buffing our commander up to a stupid number, and then killing everybody with the Chandra's Ignition. Now, you do need a specific set of cards to do this, but the deck is capable of it, so I thought I'd throw it out there. Additionally, we do run Fleetfoot Panther. This one, on its face, 3 mana for a soldier token and that +4/+4, and then it bounces itself back to your hand. This gets amazing with Rona's Monument. Now we're getting an additional +2/+2, and it's getting trample, not to mention we're only paying 2 mana for that Pathfinder instead of the 3, or Panther. I don't know why I keep saying Pathfinder. Let's talk about that ramp, because honestly, guys, there's a lot of it. There's a lot of 1-drops, because that's one of the ways we can trigger our commander consistently, and I'm kind of going to zoom through it because, like I said, it's a lot of 1-drops. You guys have seen them before, but here we go. We have Arbor Elf, Birds of Paradise, Delighted Halfling, Elvish Mystic, Findhorn Elves, Leanmore Elves, and Noble Hierarch. These are all going to be solid options for just triggering our commander for that +4/+4 while ramping in the early game, making sure we can cast our commander consistently on turn 3 or 4 at the worst. We also do run stuff like Arcane Signet, Biophagus, and Bloom Tinder. These are going to be amazing things for not only color fixing, but making sure, like I said, we can cast our commander very early, because that's exactly what this deck needs to do and all that it wants to do, honestly. Farseek, Nature's Lore, and 3 Visits are going to be super solid cards for fetching up those triumphs or, color fixing in general, while also providing some solid ramp. I like Incubation Druid here just because Incubation Druid can tap for any colors we have our access to. That way we can cast those niche cards. Like I said, this is mostly a mono green deck, but we do have some color splashing in here, so it's going to be really good for mana dorks that can cast for anything we have access to. We also do run Selvala, Heart of the Wilds. She can tap for an absolutely insane number in this deck, because honestly it doesn't take much, one spell, and we already have Aragorn to 9 power. So you're tapping Selvala for 9 mana. That can get absurd very quickly. The Reaver Cleaver, this is going to give him +1, and again, we've got that trample. Trample's super important in this deck, because without it, people are just going to chump block. So now we have trample, and we're creating a lot of treasure tokens. We do need to wait a turn because it is on combat, right? So we have to wait a whole round, but after then, I can't imagine us untapping and losing the game if we have the right cards in hand. Smothering Tithe, another amazing card, right? I like it because it creates treasure tokens, and it makes it super flexible to cast those cantrippy spells that only cast 1 mana, right? Because we're just sacking those treasure tokens for mono green, or if, like I said, we need to splash some color here or there, treasure tokens are going to be perfect for that. Cold-Eyed Selkie is also going to be pretty amazing in the deck. Not only are we going to get the scry and the +4/+4 whenever we cast her, then we can just use the trigger to go ahead and buff her up. Obviously not on the turn she entered because she doesn't have haste, but then we can attack somebody and refill our entire hand very easily, and we can do that consistently too. Hunter's Insight is going to be amazing since it's at instant speed. Attack with Aragorn, they probably think they're safe. They probably don't, let's be honest. And then whenever they don't block, we go ahead, pump him up, and we're going to get cards equal to his power. Drawing 21 cards out of nowhere, I can imagine where we don't just win the game right after that. Wheel of Misfortune and Windfall are going to be super awesome to refill our hand as well. Using wheels in decks that just kind of throw their hand out onto the battlefield, which is exactly what this does, is going to be super solid just to refill our entire hand. Beast Whisperer, this is going to turn all of our elves into cantrips, basically making sure our hand stays at a consistent level all game. We also do run the Great Henge because honestly, let's be real, we're only paying 2 mana for that at any point in time. Guardian Projects can also do the same thing, so that's our creature card draw. We also run Hunter's Prowess. Now, this one's a little different because it doesn't have instant speed, so people will see it coming from a mile away. The only problem is it does give trample, so what are they going to do about it? The only thing they could do is remove our commander, and if we have protection in hand, that's not happening either. So it's kind of like, you're going to die, I'm going to draw 21 cards, and you're going to have to deal with it. And that just doesn't feel great, but hey, we included it in the deck. Reforged the Soul, another solid wield card. Return of the Wild Speaker. This can not only buff our board, hey, it does go wide. We do run a lot of elves, but let's be honest, we're just drawing a lot of cards with this 9 times out of 10. Soul's Majesty, the same thing. We're drawing all of the cards. And then we have Echoes of Eon. This is going to be really solid. Like, say we need to refill our library because we've cast a lot of cards. The game's gone incredibly long. They removed our commander a lot. This is going to be one of the cards that can get us back into the game, back onto our game plan. Rishkar's Expertise. This one not only draws us cards equal to our commander power, but it's also going to let us cast a card for free. So giving us +8/+8 essentially. Moving on to those protection spells, we have Blossoming Defense, Tamiyo Safekeeping, and Tyvar Stand. Super solid cards to give us that +4/+4 while also protecting our commander. Gaia's Gift is going to be a little better because we get trample off of this. That way, whenever people are holding open chump blockers, it's not going to matter. Fierce Guardianship and Flawless Maneuvers, I just couldn't help myself, right? Now, I don't like casting Fierce Guardianship 9 times out of 10. It kind of feels bad. You know, you're looking at someone, they're tapped out, and then out of nowhere, they, counter a spell. Kind of seems rough, but I like it for protecting my stuff because, hey, if you mess with my stuff, I think casting a spell for free is kind of fair. Next up, we have Swiftfoot Boots. Well, it's not fair, let's be honest, but it does feel a little better. Swiftfoot Boots, super solid. honestly a staple in any commander deck, and this one's no different. Mithril Coat, I'm definitely going to give this card a try. I think it's a little better than people are saying, because honestly, just 3 mana to protect your commander sounds amazing. Shielding Plax. Now, this one might be a little bit of a weird include, but we are going to get a scry off this, and we are going to get to replace itself off of this. So it kind of feeds into the cantrippy aspect of the deck, but it does cost 3 mana. Moving on to removal, we have Bushwhack, Nature's Claim, and Prey Upon. Super solid cards for getting the +4/+4 while also removing any blockers. This is going to be the really annoying part of the deck that people are just going to keep coming back to, because paying 1 mana to remove one of your blockers and then make it open for my 21/21 creature to come in and kill you with commander damage is going to be annoying and honestly feel bad, but hey, that's what the deck is designed to do. 12 Sight or Tail Swipe, Pit Fight, and Prize Fight are also going to be solid fight cards that are going to remove those blockers. Ram Through can basically take out 2 people in a turn, commander damage 1 person out, and kill the other one with straight up damage. I like it. Beast Within, super solid removal, gets rid of any permanent, really flexible. Reclamation Sage, again, same thing. And don't forget, whenever we're casting these removal spells, we are still getting that +4/+4 for our commander. Chandra's Ignition can just flat out end games with this deck. Additionally, it can also, go ahead and be a solid board wipe. Bane of Progress, get rid of those artifacts, enchantments. It's going to be super solid, especially since everybody's using treasure tokens. It'll make them sacrifice all of them. Last but not least, we have Blasphemous Act. Super solid for getting rid of a board state that's gotten out of hand. That's going to do it for the deck tech, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know what you think about this deck in the comments down below. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Smeagol's up next, so make sure you subscribe to see that as well. And as always, guys, I hope this helped you in your deck building endeavors. I'll see you in the next one.